Hello, my friends. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. So, since I'm out here in this beautiful place today, figured I'd put out a video. This one's been on my mind for a couple of days, so I think this is the perfect time to do it. So, let's get into it. I want to talk about the cost of self sacrifice and how most people, like, subconsciously have the tendency to do things like this throughout their whole lives without even realizing that they're doing that. Not only that, especially if you're an empath type of person. Let me adjust this camera here. And you know, it's like you kind of go throughout your life on pilot, autopilot mode, and either because of the way you were raised or something that happened most likely in your childhood throughout your upbringing. Either one of your parents or both of your parents, or maybe if it wasn't your parents, it might have been your grandparents. We all have a lot of exposure to close relatives like that. And the problem is that when you grow up experiencing things like this throughout your life, you automatically think that that's that's how life is, and that's how you should behave, that's how you should be. And that is the reason why a lot of people out there, they live throughout their lives being overgivers, people pleasers. They're always doing everything for everybody else but themselves. They don't even realize that that's what they're doing. And this is what I call the self sacrifice that a lot of people do. I've done it most of my life up until not that long ago. And until you come to that realization and you break out of that, you're never free. Because you see, you are abandoning yourself for the benefit of others all the time, but you never do anything for yourself. You keep finding excuses, lying to yourself, living in a perpetual state of denial that, oh, if I keep doing things a certain way, or if I keep doing this, eventually someone will see me for who I am. Eventually someone will recognize me. It's this fake sense of self-worth that you don't really have, but you find excuses for it because you don't realize that until you act upon it, nobody else is going to do anything for you, because you're the only one who has the ability and is equipped with what it takes to break out of situations like that. That's the thing. People live their lives like sleep sleepwalking. Like, I call it zombie mode because it's what it is. It's like you don't sugarcoat things like this, okay? You just don't sugarcoat things like this. Stop living in denial and stop doing these things, because until you rescue yourself from this state of being, living that way, thinking that way, seeing yourself that way, you're never you're never really gonna go anywhere. That's what you have to understand. That's what you have to, that is your power. And you have a lot of it. Whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not, whether you understand it or not. But your whole life, you're just giving that away to others. You're making their lives better, that's for sure. And there will be plenty of people out there that will exploit that out of you because they know that you don't realize that, so they're just gonna use you over and over and over again. That's how the world works, my friends. It's not very pretty, unfortunately, in situations like this anyway, until you get out of it. You gotta reclaim who you are for yourself. No one is going to do that for you. It's just a fact. Until you wake up to that fact, things are not going to change because you have to change them yourself. That's how it works. It's a very simple concept that most people never follow through, never go through it, never act on it because of fear. It always comes down to the good old fear, the self-doubt, the lack of, self-love, self-respect, believing in yourself as you should, always, at all times. You have to trust yourself, trust your capability, know what you're worth, know your value, know what you bring and add to other people's lives for who you are without wearing a mask. That's the other thing. I've talked about this many, many times. And yeah, until you take that mask off and be yourself truly, be the authentic self, your true self, who you are. Not the thoughts, not the concept, not the mind construct, not the self-made fake avatar that we were all, you know, trained to create and live that way, because it's just how the system works until you realize that, it's all a lie. The whole thing is a lie. So the difference between people who succeed in life and those who don't, really, it really boils down to that. It's you have to know who you are, and just go with that always, at all times. So stop self-sacrificing, because that's the biggest form of self-sabotage that you can ever do to yourself. You are fooling yourself. You're acting like a fool all the time by being like that. Stop sacrificing yourself for the benefit of others, especially if you're not getting anything in return, energetically speaking, in any way, shape, or form. Because look, it's okay. It's okay to love other people, and to give your love to other people. And unconditional love, it's like that, but you have to understand that there have to be limits for how you extend that to people, especially if they are not willing to give it back. Because everybody wants to receive, but then you're not getting anything in return. So what are you gaining from it, really? Other than grief, pain, feeling unworthy, feeling like people are not valuing you for who you are, because you're the only one doing that to yourself. So, yeah, you gotta stop. The faster, the better. Because once you reach that point, you're gonna understand that that's how you change your life. And it's a huge step to take. And you have to understand that it's not as huge of a step as you may think, based upon the fact that you'll be sacrificing yourself pretty much your whole life anyway. So at this point, what have you got to lose in turning that energy inwards, putting it into yourself, focusing on yourself, making it so that now that energy is being put to good use, because you're using all that energy that you used to give to others freely, because you're a good person, because most human beings are good, you know generally speaking, but in nature, it's just a thing, you know yeah, there's bad people out there, quite a few of them, but there's a lot of good people too. And it's what you do with that that makes the difference. Because if you're not being good to yourself, which you are not by self-sacrificing all the time, how do you think things are going to get better for you? That same energy that you've been giving away your whole life to other people, situations, places, relationships, workplaces, whatever the case may be, if you actually turn that inwards and you put that into yourself, I guarantee you that the results would be way better than wasting it away, letting it be drained out of you, siphoned out of you, while you watch others, get it all because you were the one giving it and you didn't get anything in return. And I know how that feels. Trust me. I'm speaking from experience here. So you can take that with a grain of salt, or you can reflect upon it and use that to your advantage in your own life, and understand that just by being here, you have a lot of value. You have a lot to give, a lot to offer. But be wise as to how you use that energy, because it's not a one-way thing. It's supposed to be reciprocal, always and all the time. And when it's imbalanced, that's where the problem lies. And this is really all I wanted to talk about. That's all there is to it, my friends. So, I love you all with everything I have. Keep on loving yourselves. Never ever forget that part. And then I will see you all on the next one. Take care, everyone.